Hi there, everyone. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm really excited because there are so many things going on in this in this next few months. I'm hoping that I'll be able to keep track, but I'm going to tell you what's going on, and then I'd like to move on to message from Spirit because I'm really kind of excited about who's been dropping by to say hi to me, and there's been a couple. So, first of all, I wanted to touch on, Gravenhurst was fantastic. I had such a great time, and the House is actually very haunted. And I had a door slam in my face. Katie and I experienced the lights coming on as we walked into a room, and these were lights that you would have to actually physically push the switch for them to come on. Because if you've noticed the photo, in the last story that I just posted, there was a picture of me in a mirror, doing a little pose, and she had taken a photo. And just moments before that, there was a door that had closed on me, and just moments after that, we had the lights turn off. So it was kind of interesting to see them come back on when we came back into the room. So I'm excited about Gravenhurst because we met some great people. We were so well received, and we had a great stay at a bed and breakfast with a great big beautiful tree which had a tree man carved out of it and a cute little raccoon, and there was an eagle perched at the top of that. And it had great significance to me because my mother used to do wood carvings, and it was just really nice. The energy there. Wendy, the host there, and I mentioned the name of the bed and breakfast, and I'm so sorry I don't remember it right now, but what beautiful people. The food. Oh my God, the food was amazing. Anyways, great show. We're moving on to September 21st. There's two shows in Sudbury, one during the day, and the one during the day has chocolate fountain, and it has desserts, tea, coffee, that kind of thing. And that show is going to be amazing. It's an afternoon show. Then there's an evening show with a huge buffet dinner, and it's I can't tell you everything, but it's just going to be amazing. And so I'm really excited about that. And we just announced also October 17th for Dante's Club in Porcupine, which is in Timmins, Ontario. And that one actually has over 300 tickets on reserve in less than 48 hours. I'm so freaking pumped to go to Timmins. So Timmins, watch out. I can't wait to see you all. Now, thanks so much for your support. Thanks for everything. It's been a little bit busier. I've had to take the calendar offline because there's just too many people trying to use it at once. And so I've taken it off just for a week or two, and I'm going to be putting it back up once I have all the dates set up for touring and stuff like that. Now, I just had to do some notes here because I've messaged from Spirit for two different people. And the first one I had to write that there was sadness around cervical issues. And I don't know if the person had cervical cancer or if there were a lot of surgeries in the cervical area. A beautiful woman that came through to tell me that her daughter's going to be just fine. And so there's been a little bit of sadness around this daughter. There's been some stresses over some domestic disputes. Hate to say it like that. But the thing is, they talk about this domestic dispute escalating to some new heights. So I think that, and I don't mean disrespect here, but I think that there's been some arguing and some name calling and maybe a little bit of shoving around. And really, the other side takes notice of this. They don't get upset because a human spirit doesn't have the same human emotion as a human would have. Here, something experienced like that in front of me, or if I saw someone being abused physically in front of me, I would totally react to that, But human spirit does not react because it doesn't have the human sense to it anymore. It doesn't have the measurement of, time, distance, love, hate, that kind of thing. They are just euphoric, very high conscious beings that, don't feel emotional distress around what we would. And so they still come through because they're still very attached to us and they love us very much. They just want us to have a happier energy here, a happier vibration, and happier lives. And so sometimes we learn lessons through these types of emotional turmoils and through these emotional types of experiences, especially with domestic types of things, you know, because I mean, it's happened to so many people, including myself, at one point or another in my lifetime. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, the spirit on the other side is aware of it in this case, because they make me feel that this domestic matter has really, really escalated with her daughter. Now, I had to focus a little bit because I wasn't sure if it was, you know, dates pertaining to the person that's passed away, this woman that's talking to me that passed with these cervical issues. I don't know if these dates she's giving me is in relation to her daughter living here, or even attachments around her, birthdays, anniversaries, or passings. But I had November either 5th, 10th, or 15th, and that comes through really, really, really strongly. November either 5, 10, or 15. So just to let you know about that. Now, she makes me feel that there may be some kind of separation coming up, or there's consideration of a separation. But, you know, and it's not to judge whether, you know, this person is a good person or that person's a good person or not. The thing is, they just make me feel that there's a vulnerable issue around a child. So in other words, I think the child is witnessing this domestic behavior. And, you know, I just think that it's just sort of like a, you know, wake up and smell the coffee type thing. And I'm hoping that someone out there will be able to relate to it. I also hear the name either Gary or Glenda or like, so it's not a George or a Jerry. It would be a soft G name, Guylaine, Guy, you know, that kind of thing. But it's a soft G name that's also an attachment to this particular situation or family. Now, I just want to send a lot of love. The female that comes through makes me feel she's extremely happy. She passed away very difficultly, I have to tell you, but she makes me feel that she was let go. So I think there was either a stopping of a treatment or a stopping of, you know, life support, or maybe the termination of feeding, that kind of thing. But she makes me feel really good that that had to happen. So if anyone's feeling bad about making those types of decisions on behalf of her, you know, really just to get rid of that, because she makes me feel that that had to happen and it kind of helped her pass through. Now, the second person that comes through talks about either Jack or John, and it's a J-O name. And the reason I say Jack is because I see a Jack in a box. So I don't know if it's a Jack, John type of in the same name, or it could even be like a Jonathan, or someone that's like specifically Jonathan. But just to let you know, I love the woman in the white dress. I follow the woman in the white dress a lot, but she sits in front of the mirror and she cries a lot. I think she has hip pain, he tells me. And the thing is, the daughter's doing so well in her career, but they do make me feel that there's been problems around her husband with strokes or memory issues starting, or something to do with like aneurysms or bad migraines. So although there's a lot of good energy coming around this beautiful woman, and I could see her as tall and blonde and gorgeous, you know, the father or the Jack or the Jonathan connected here that comes through to me makes me feel that this person's mother, or the woman in white, as he always puts it, he makes me feel that there's like going to be some concern around these two females, and that the female is going to be sad over a male that becomes very ill. And they make me feel that the male has to go to the hospital. So I wouldn't think it's the older woman in white. I would think it's the blonde woman that has a lot of success, who has a sick husband on her hands, or there's news of illness. So they make me feel that her father comes around to tell her that, or to just to tell her to slow down a little bit, because, you know, she's going to have to take a little bit of time off from work, or maybe just miss a couple of contracts, or miss a couple of different things that she needs to do in order to be with her husband. Her husband, it seems that it's escalated. They may have to even, do something with getting some help from outside or maybe home care. Yeah, that kind of thing. But they just make me feel that there's something like that coming, and that I'm just so busy right now that I'm not noticing the signs. And I wouldn't want this person to feel bad that they weren't there for their husband while their husband was sick, because they're just so busy with their lives that I don't really get the sense that they notice, their surroundings. And, I can equate to that. My husband sometimes will walk around with, a sore back. And I'm just in such a hurry. And, as much as I care for him, I'm busy with the telephone, I'm busy with the computer, I'm busy here. And then I'll give him a little smooch, and then I'll tell him I have to go. And I'll see him at 4 o'clock when I get home, And then I'll think on the way out the door, oh, I wonder how his hip is, or I wonder how his back is. Or so, sometimes it happens. So please don't put yourself through the ringer if this is you I'm talking to, because your father makes me feel that he's been making you very busy so that you don't have to grieve his loss as much. I keep on, feeling a John or a Jack that comes through. He really talks about this beautiful woman in white that he makes me feel so connected to, and I think that's your mom. And so if you're listening to this message, and if you can relate to your mom always wearing white, or maybe even having white hair, she's beautiful. Just let her know that dad comes around and dad listens, and she's still getting up around 4:20, 4:22 a.m. She's having trouble sleeping. He knows that. I think she just drinking a little bit too much tea before she goes to bed. And then I see coffee cake or cinnamon cake for some reason, or spice cake, but I see that. So I don't know if that means something to you, but they're showing that to me. I hope that you take this message and that you embrace it, because I think your dad's been trying to talk to you quite a bit. You've been asking him for favors, and he wants you to know that he's around despite the fact that you really don't feel him. Anyways, I hope you have an absolutely beautiful weekend. You need to take a little bit of rest, and he calls you his baby girl. So I don't know if you're the youngest, but you have beautiful blonde hair, and you have a K-sounding type of name. So Carolyn, Karen, Colette, Claire, that sounds like a K, Crystal, but it's for you, okay, love? I hope you enjoyed your messages. I hope you enjoyed the message from Spirit. And I'm very sorry if I haven't had time lately. I'm going to try to do them a little bit more. I just set up a little makeshift office here today at home because I was working from home. But I want to thank you so much for all of your support, and I hope you join me at the Crusoe Club on September 21st for 2 shows, one in the afternoon and one in the evening. Tickets on sale at the Tree of Life North, which is at 227 Regent Street North, and that happens to be right across from Herman's IDA, and also the Crusoe Club on Hague Street. They're also selling tickets, and just to let you know, the tickets for Timmins are going to be available very shortly, and just to contact the Timmins Home Improvement Center and Dante's. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you so much for all of your support, and to my sponsors, the Crusoe Club, and to Kicks FM, who just recently did a great interview with me, and I just love everybody. Thank you so much for your support. It's been a whirlwind, but we're gonna get it done. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.